Hello everyone. Today we'll be going over making stories and dashboards in Tableau. So as usual, you're going to want to start with cracking open a fresh data set that is appropriate for the graphs that you want to display. I'm going to use A7 data file. It's pretty much the same thing as my assignment 4 data file, just a few of the variables have changed. So for starters, I want to change the variable type to string for gender and position, and recode the aliases just for client convenience. I mean, I know that one is male and two is female, but if you were showing a client, you would definitely want them to know what's what. So just go hover over this section, click it, and click string. That'll give you the opportunity to change the aliases into actual names. So we're going to go associate, junior, and senior for position. Alright, now that we've got our data set loaded and the values are appropriate, we're going to slide over to sheet 1. So for sheet 1, we're just going to make a simple scatter plot of our predictor variable, which is cognitive ability score, and we're going to throw it on, not attribute, we want it as a dimension. And we're going to take frequency of mistakes, our outcome variable, drop it in rows, make that a dimension as well, and for good measure, we're going to throw a trend line on it. So the next step would be creating, nope, we don't quite want to create a new sheet yet. We can actually duplicate this sheet by right-clicking it and then clicking duplicate. And this way we can throw, for example, gender down as a color, and we're going to want to switch that to, no, not attribute. I keep accidentally clicking attribute. I want to switch it to dimension. So we have males is red and females is orange, and you can change the color if you want. So let's just double click the square and we can change female to blue. Hit apply, hit OK. This just makes it a little bit easier to tell the difference. Colors stand out more. So we're going to go back to the first sheet and duplicate it again. And this time we're going to divide these up. We're going to essentially filter by position. So we're going to do it in rows. And when we go and make that a dimension, we have our associates, everyone at our junior level, and everyone at our senior level. So we have 3 different scatter plots kind of showing the same thing, but the filters help aid in honing in on a specific thing. And for sheet number 5, let's combine the previous 2 that we made. So we just hit duplicate again, and we can just throw gender back on color. So we can put dimension up here, and now we have males and females by associate by, males and females by their position. So the next step we're going to do is adding filter sliders and filter checkboxes. So depending on the type of data, whether it's categorical like gender and position, or continuous like cognitive ability score and frequency of mistakes, kind of determines whether or not you get a slider or a checkbox for them. So you want to take the variable that you want to filter and drag it up to this filters box, just hit next, and make sure that these are the variables that you want. And when you hit apply and OK, you can see it reappears in this box up here, but there's no way to quickly filter it, so we want to drop down and just hit show filter, and that way it applies over there. So we also want to filter by position, and we're going to repeat the process a couple times. So this will give us another checkbox. So hit apply and hit OK one more time. Now when we go and do cognitive ability score, drop that there and hit next, you see that there's an actual slider bar, and you can change the way it filters, but for now we're just going to do the range of values. So we're going to hit apply, hit OK. We forgot to show filter for position and cognitive ability score, and you see the filter matches what was in the previous screen. And so the last one we're going to throw up there is frequency of mistakes. Put that on there, hit apply, hit OK. So now we have these neat little filters that allows us to play around with our data. So we can see who has the most mistakes and with the lowest cognitive ability score. Very few people, or, only look at junior and senior level people. There's only one male who fits the criteria of having more than 11 mistakes and having a cognitive ability score of less than 60. So, it's kind of a cool thing to play around with. So next, we're going to go on filtering this data real quick. And we're going to go in that sheet 2 that we created, and we're just going to make a couple histograms. So the quickest way to do that is to hit show me, and then take the variable that you want. We're going to make one for our predictor and outcome variables. So now we have a cognitive ability histogram. You just click the variable you want and click the histogram chart. And we're going to make another one for frequency of mistakes. Bam, bam. Quick, fast, in a hurry. So the next part, I'm going to make a couple of bar plots, bar graphs, for our demographic variables. So we're going to drop gender up here and make it a dimension. And we just take the number of records, throw it up here in columns, and it's actually hidden by the show me, but there are 47 males and 52 females. So here's our first bar chart, and we do the same thing for position to make our second one. But be sure to make it dimension, and number of records. Bam. So now we have a handful of charts that we can play around with. So the next step is to make a dashboard. Dashboards are really interesting. You basically just drag and drop the information that you want into the dashboard, and Tableau has this neat little grid assignment feature. So we put our first scatter plot here, and it has all our filters, but we also want to throw the histograms on there. And as you can see, it blocks out the area that you're going to place it, so you can make sure that that's where you want to put it. So we're going to put our histogram side by side, and we can put our bar charts side by side as well. Looks a little bit cramped, but once we actually get it up and running, it'll space out more, or you can manually do that by changing the size. So right now it's in desktop browser, but we can change the size that it's in. One of the other things, the filters that we created are currently only applying to the scatter plot. We want to make sure that they apply to everything in this current window of the dashboard. So in order to do that, you just click on the filter that you want and apply to worksheets, selected worksheets, and if you just click all on dashboard, that's the easiest way to go about it. So selected worksheets, all on dashboard. Next. So we do this for the variables for the filters to affect all of the variables throughout all of the charts on this dashboard. So now when we start sliding frequency, you see these will adjust accordingly based on how we did it, as well as the checkboxes. So now we're going to try and hide the filter. We don't really need the client to see the filter all the time, or even really have access to it. So if you just slide up to the top and click remove from dashboard. Yes. No, wait, we don't want that layout container removed. we just want the individual filters appearing to be removed. So as you notice, they still remain the same. We can, for example, uncheck Junior, and when we go and remove it, it still remains disappeared. So the filters are gone. We have our weird super filtered dashboard, but now we want to make a story. So we can click here, and a story is basically like Tableau's answer to PowerPoint in some ways, at least in terms of presenting graphs. So you can take individual sheets, drop them in your story, and add a caption. So simple scatter plot and trend line. So we add a caption to our story, page 1. Next page, we can drag the first filtered scatter plot, pop it on there, give it this caption of scatter plot filtered by position. And we're going to repeat the process a couple times just to get everything on there. This one is the scatter plot filtered by gender and by the position. So we put that on there. And you can also put entire dashboards on there. So taking a dashboard, dropping it on there, and notice how the filters are non-existent. Now if you want to drop in multiple dashboards, you can't just duplicate it. You have to essentially go from an original data source, because anything that you do to the original dashboard will affect any of the sheets that it's touching. So an easy way to get around this is to go to your data set, and for example, if I wanted the dashboard without these filters set up, just go back, put everything back on, and we're going to duplicate this sheet. So we're looking for sheet 9, and we also wanted our histograms back. Nope, that's another scatter plot. So our histograms, we want to duplicate those as well. Excuse me. So we're looking for sheets 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So we come over here and we can make a new dashboard using these, and it will have essentially separate information. So what happens to dashboard 1 does not affect dashboard 2. So we can just go ahead and do any changes that we want. We can leave the filters up, for example. So we wanted sheet 10, 11, 12, and 13. Dropping that over there. And don't forget to set up so that it only applies to the selected worksheets in the dashboard. Very important. Because if you click apply to all related data sources, anything that you change in one dashboard will be changed in the others. So I don't know what happened at whatever point in time, but one of the filters was checked off for filter extends to sheet not on dashboard. So we uncheck those just to be sure that whatever changes we make in this dashboard 2 stay in this dashboard 2. So what happens in dashboard 2 stays in dashboard 2. So a bit of a tedious process, but we're running a bit short on time, so I'm going to skip the last one and toss it into our story just so you can see what happens. Whoop, whoop. Cutting it real close here. And it's different.